Hey, it's math time. You ready to add and subtract? There are a whole lot of numbers. We're getting smarter with every math fact. Hey, I am so glad you're here for Math with Mrs. McMillan today. Today we're going to start working with something you like to have, something you like to spend. Do you know what I'm talking about? Money! Very good. So, by now, you know quite a bit about money, and you probably have your own money, and some of you, I'm sure, have spent money at some point in your lives. Well, in order to be good with money, you have to be able to count it. You need to be able to know how much you're giving people when you buy things, and you need to know that they have given you back the correct amount of change when you buy things. So, today we're just going to start with the basics, even though I know that for most of you this is a review. We're going to start by naming the different coins that you might have if you get change back for something that you buy. So, ready? I'm going to put a coin up on the screen here, and I want you to try and name it before I do. Ready? Set? Here we go. Dime. Quarter. Penny. Nickel. Did you beat me? How'd you do on that? Now, aside from having to know what the coins' names are, you also need to know how much each one is worth, and that's the hard part. That's where kids sometimes get stuck, especially when we're talking about nickels and dimes. Nickels are bigger than dimes, except for they're worth less. So it's a little bit confusing. So, if you have trouble knowing which coin is what or what's worth how much, I have a little song that I like to sing. Here we go. I'll teach it to you now. It goes like this. My name is Lenny, I have a penny, shiny and new. Penny's worth 1 cent, yes, it's worth 1 cent, that's what it's worth to you. My name is Michael, I have a nickel, it's shiny and new. A nickel's worth 5 cents, yes, it's worth 5 cents, that's what it's worth to you. My name is Mime, I have a dime, it's shiny and new. A dime is worth 10 cents, yes, it's worth 10 cents, that's what it's worth to you. My name is Porter, and I have a quarter, it's shiny and new. A quarter's worth 25, yes, it's worth 25, that's what it's worth to you. Alright, so that's a song that I sing to help myself remember the name of the coins and to help myself remember how much each coin is worth. I think that songs are a fun way to help us remember things. So now let's do a little review and see if that helped. I'm going to put up a coin on the screen and you need to tell me how much it's worth. Ready? Here we go. That's a quarter. It's worth 25 cents. This is a nickel. It's worth 5 cents. This one I think everyone knows. This one's a penny, worth only 1 cent. And this little guy, who's the smallest coin that we have in our money system in the United States, is a dime. And he's worth 10 cents. Very good. All right. So, if you're having trouble with this, remembering the names of the coins or remembering how much each one is worth, you really need to spend some time practicing it. See if mom and dad have some change around the house that they can just dump out on the table and help you count. It's really good to practice this a lot because you're going to be using money for the rest of your life. So, when you were in first grade and even back in kindergarten, you learned how to count by ones. And one of the reasons that you learned how to count by ones is so that eventually you could count pennies. Pennies are worth 1 cent. Pennies are usually copper color. You might see a couple different shades of copper for the pennies depending on how old or how new they are. Pennies have President Lincoln on them. Pennies are worth 1 cent. So when we count pennies, we count by ones. So in first grade, we did a lot of work that's going to help us count money. We learned how to count by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we also learned how to count by twos. We had to master counting by twos all the way up to 120. So that really helps us if we have a whole ton of pennies that we need to count. It's going to make counting faster because we can just go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and so on until we count all of our pennies and see how much we got. Now, I'm wondering if you know the answer to this. How many pennies would it take to make $1? 100. Wow, you're so smart that you already knew that. Yeah, 100 of these pennies is what it would take in order to be the same amount as a $1 bill. Very good. Now let's take a look at some other money. Here's our next coin. This guy's called a nickel. I'm sure you already knew that. The nickel has President Jefferson on it. The nickel is silver. And the nickel is pretty big. Not as big as the quarter, but he's the second biggest coin out of the 4 that we have right now that we're going to study. This nickel is worth 5 cents. And guess what we had to master doing in first grade? We had to master counting by fives all the way up to 120. So it really makes life easy when you already know that because now you can count all these nickels. We just count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Or we could be really smart since we know our doubles. We could combine 2 nickels together boop, to make 10 cents. And we could count this stack of nickels even faster if we count by tens, which we also had to master in first grade. So we could go like this, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Look how fast I can count those when I just double them up and count by tens. Now, here we go. Here's another coin. Here's our next coin, the dime. Isn't he a cute little guy? He has President Roosevelt on him. He is the smallest out of the 4 coins that we are studying today, but he's not worth the least. He's actually worth 10 cents, so more than the penny and more than the nickel. He is worth 10 cents. We learned how to count by tens in kindergarten, and we did it more and count a little further by tens in first grade. So here we go. Really easy to count dimes. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or I could be really smart, count them faster, and count them 2 at a time, which means by 20s, which is just like counting by 2s, except for you're adding a 0 to the back end of the number. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Ooh, look how fast I counted 100 cents worth of dimes. And 100 cents is the same as what? That's right, $1. Very good. Okay. Here's the last coin that we are going to study today, and this guy's called a quarter. Good job. All right. Quarter has President Washington on it. The quarter is the biggest of the 4 coins that we are working with today. The quarter is typically this silver color. It's got the eagle on the back, and it is worth 25 cents. Now, kids really struggle in counting by 25. So let's talk about that right now. If I have 1 quarter, that's worth 25 cents. Now, when I add 25 and 25, I get what? 50 cents. So 2 quarters equals 50 cents. Okay, now here's the hard part that usually messes kids up. It's when you add that 3rd quarter. When you add a 3rd quarter, it seems to be pretty hard for a lot of people in their heads to add up this 50 cents plus another 25. But let's take a look at this. 50 cents plus 25 cents equals 75 cents. 3 quarters are worth 75 cents. That's the tricky one to understand. Now, most of us have a pretty good grasp on how much money we have if we have 4 quarters. If I have 50 cents, here and 50 cents here, and I put them together, 50 plus 50 is 100. So that means that 4 quarters is worth the same as $1 bill. 4 quarters is 100 cents or $1. All right, here we go. Now let's take a look at this amount of money and say that we want to count it to figure out how much is here. There are a couple of different things that you could do. You could start with the smallest coin and then count the larger coins. So I could say 1, 2, 3. 3 plus 5 is 8. And 8 plus 5 is 13. Now, if that's really kind of hard for you and adding in your head those numbers in that order is difficult, do not think that you have to just add them up straight across. You can add these guys up any way you want. So if you know that 5 plus 5 is 10, just start there. Say 10 and then count by ones. 11, 12, 13. I have 13 cents. 10 plus 3 is 13. Let's take another look. Here's a jumble of money. Let's say that you emptied your pockets and you just dumped this out onto the table, and now you want to know how much money you have. First thing that you should do is to sort the coins so that they're all together in like categories. So first I'm going to put all the pennies here, and then I'm going to sort out the nickels from the dimes. There we go. So now I have dimes and nickels and pennies. Now, one of the reasons why we worked so hard in kindergarten and in first grade to teach you how to count by tens and fives and ones is so that you could easily switch between counting by tens, fives, and ones in order to add up money. So, first we're going to count by tens. Then when these are gone, we're going to switch over and count by fives. And when these are gone, we're going to switch over and count by ones. Count with me if you can. Try it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 45, 50, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. Hey, I have 59 cents altogether. Good counting. It is pretty hard to switch across from counting by tens to 5 to ones, but with practice, you'll get good at it. Let's try another one. Okay, let's say that you emptied out your pockets and this is how much money you have. Now, first thing you got to do is what? That's right, sort out the coins. It's going to make counting it much easier. So here we go. I'm going to sort them out. I have, just 2 pennies. And then look at that, I have some nickels. So, I have a lot of nickels. Okay, I'm going to sort my nickels, and then I'm sorting my dimes, and then I'm sorting out, I have 1 quarter. Now, this guy makes things more complicated. That 25 cents is a tricksy one. Some people are okay with doing this. 25 plus 10 is 35. 45, 55. And some people don't like doing that. Some people want to make this a number that ends in 0 because they think it's a little bit easier to count. In which case, I would mix this quarter with this nickel because 25 plus 5 is 30. And then I would go ahead and count the rest of it. Starting at 30 seems easier to me than starting at 25. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go 30, 40, 50, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 91, 92. I have 92 cents. I'm very close to having $1's worth of change. How many more cents would I need to add to this 92 cents in order to make it be $1? Okay, that's a good guess. Let's count and find out. So if we're just going to start at 92, and I'm just going to keep adding pennies until I hit 100, and we'll see how many it takes. 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Let's see how much it took. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It took 8 more coins. Hey! All right, here we go. I emptied out my pockets, and this is how much money I have. What's the first thing I do? Good job. I got to sort them out to see what I have. So here I know pennies are easiest to sort because they're a whole different color. So there are my pennies, and then I got my medium-sized nickels here. Ooh, I have a lot of nickels. Oh gosh, I got some quarters. Okay, quarters, and then I have a huge pile of dimes here. So, typically I do not like to just start at the smallest amount and count up. For me, that's hard. I am going to start at my quarters here. Now, I know that 2 quarters makes 50 cents. How much does this third quarter make when I add it to these two? Do you remember? 75 cents. Very good. So here I have 75 cents. Now, I like to start counting with things that add in a zero. It just makes my life easier. So if I can, I would combine this 75 cents to make it something that ends in zero. And I know that if I add a 5 to it, 75 plus 5 is 80. And now I'm going to start counting the rest of my money. So I have 80, 90, 100. Ah! What just happened there? 75, 80, 90, 100. How much is this? Yeah, it's $1. Look at that. This amount right here is the same as a dollar bill. This is just easier to count. Ooh la la. All right, let's see how much more we can get. So this is $1. I'm going to kind of set him aside. I don't have to add any more to him. I know that that's 100 cents. So now let's count our dimes and see how much else we have. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. Oh, we made another $1. Oh my gosh. So this is $1 and this is $1. Look at that. I have $2 already and I'm not even done counting my change. All right. So let's see here. 100, 100, that's 200, 205, 206, 207, 208, 209. I have 209 cents. Or you could say that I have $2.09. Now, we could switch these out for dollar bills. So this was 100 cents, switching it out for $1. This is 100 cents. And switching it out for $1. Look how much easier this is to count. So a lot of times we trade in, we go to the bank and we trade in our change to get dollar bills because it's easier to count and it's easier to hold. These are way lighter than all that change. So this is $2.09 and so is the original amount of coins that we had counted. Very good. Thanks for joining me for math today as we talked about money. Now, I'd love it if you could please do the activity that I've attached to this video. Have fun. See you tomorrow for some more money. Bye.